We haven't talked enough about actor Kurt Russell's Disney career. Before we get into this video, like and subscribe so YouTube can grow. First, let's start off from the very beginning. Kurt Russell was born on March 17, 1951. He started out as a child actor and later a young adult actor working for Disney. Beyond Disney, he has had a variety of genres, like action adventures, science fiction, westerns, romance films, and much more. However, few people actually pay attention to his contributions of working for Disney and how good of a young actor he was. So as we all know, Kurt Russell's roles in Disney movies definitely started out as a more rough and tough villain kid to a much more mild-mannered, thoughtful young adult in Disney movies, where he plays a college student in quite a few movies. But let's begin where he started. His first lead role was in the Walt Disney movie called Follow Me Boys. His character, Whitey, is a street villainous kid who becomes adopted after his dad dies. He very gradually gets better, but then the movie skips to when he was an adult serving in the military and is a doctor 20 years later. Kurt was obviously a talented actor in his first role in a Walt Disney movie. After the first role, working for the Walt Disney Company, they signed him for 10 more years. His next role was in a movie called Mosby's Marauders, aka Willie and the Yank. He played William Prentice, a self-proclaimed Confederate. Yes, he's definitely a villain kid in this movie, but he does know when to be a little graceful when he wants to be. The movie did also air on Disney's Wonderful World of Color at the time, so it may have not been as popular. Mosby's Marauders is still an okay Civil War movie.
Hey, it's John, creator of John's Deep Dives. In this next clip, you'll see I will be talking about 3 Disney movies that Kurt Russell did, as these 3 Disney movies made a Disney trilogy during the late 60s and 70s. I hope you enjoy this clip, and I will see you soon.
The Computer Who Wore Tennis Shoes is a strange title to say the least. I honestly don't know why they used this title for what the movie is about. The movie is about Medfield college students who are mostly pretty stupid, but know one subject very well, which would be science. As the school is run by a very snarky, loud-mouthed dean and a more cool-minded professor. So Dean Higgins is usually in charge of the school budget while Professor Quigley tries to teach the students whatever he can, predominantly science and computers, at least in the first out of the 3 movies. And Kurt Russell's character, Dexter Riley, gets electrocuted by a computer, and then pretty much his whole body runs like a speedy computer. Even looking through his head in a doctor's office showed that he had nothing but a computer head. So soon after this discovery, he has fame all over the world, and it almost took him away from his friends. But soon enough, Dexter apologizes for any wrongdoing he did to his friends, and then they welcome him back. Of course, you have a few bad guys in this movie, like the original Joker from Batman and his stupid sidekicks who want Dexter for whatever wacky reason. So is The Computer Who Wore Tennis Shoes a good movie? Well, sort of, maybe. I will say, it very mildly tackles how fame can affect a person's friendships and then the message of keeping your friends whether you're famous or not. I will say, the first out of the 3 Disney movies that I will mention later in this video is not the best one. So finishing this review on The Computer Who Wore Tennis Shoes. The movie is very odd. It may be made in 1969, but I think it could have been a much better movie. There are also many familiar faces in this movie that I got a kick out of, and it can be funny at times. Next, we move on to the second movie in this Disney saga, called Now You See Him, Now You Don't. Most of the cast from the first movie show up in the second movie except for Professor Quigley. He's in the first and third movie. Now You See Him, Now You Don't is the right title for what the movie is about. So it starts off with a lightning storm that electrocutes the science lab and makes an invisibility liquid that turns people and other things invisible. Then if you put water on it, you are visible again. So yeah, it has the same 2 villains from the first movie, and they try to rob a bank using the invisibility formula to get away, but get caught. because the water hit their car and they became visible. Before I start making the rest of this video talking about the third movie, I say that Now You See Him, Now You Don't is by far the best out of the three movies. It is the most family friendly, it is really funny, the special effects are awesome, and definitely has a great cast. Kurt Russell probably was at his best in this Disney movie. Now let's get into the third movie in this saga. The third movie of the Disney sci-fi saga is called The Strongest Man in the World. As we all know, it stars Kurt Russell. Basically, the movie is about Medfield college students who are dealing with science lab equipment, and then some kind of acid goes into the famous Crinkle Crunch cereal and then makes Dexter Riley stronger. Then a lot of the plot deals with two villains as well as a spy who want the acid formula to make another cereal company richer. The Strongest Man in the World may be the third movie out of the Disney sci-fi saga and may not have many developed characters, but you can tell that Dexter Riley's friend group will have each other's backs given the situations. So the way the movie ends is that Dexter's team of friends have to participate in a weightlifting contest to make their associated cereal company richer. This movie is very funny, there isn't any offensive language or anything like that. There's also one particular fight scene that's hilarious. All in all, The Strongest Man in the World has underdeveloped characters, but that also makes this movie very funny and interesting at times. The next movie we'll be talking about is called The One and Only Genuine Original Family Band. In this musical/hugely political movie, we have Kurt Russell playing Sidney Bauer, a background actor who sings and dances. That's pretty much it. He was very talented in this role, even though he was mostly a background actor. Kurt Russell's next Disney movie in 1968 was called The Horse in the Grey Funnel Suit. Horse in the Grey Funnel Suit is a big horse movie with great music, great special and visual effects, and was an overall good movie. Kurt Russell had a minor role in this movie. Here's Kurt Russell in the 1969 movie The Guns and the Heather, aka The Secret of Boyne Castle. Kurt Russell plays Rich Evans, a guy who keeps running away from bad guys and keeps getting caught, and then he escapes the bad guys at the end of the movie. That's pretty much his character. Oh look, here's Kurt Russell in the Disney movie The Barefoot Executive. He plays Stephen Post, an arrogant UBC network worker who pitches ideas from a chimpanzee's perspective on what the top-rated shows are. Throughout this movie, he definitely makes mistakes, but in the end, he values his girlfriend and a chimpanzee better than working at the UBC television network. Kurt Russell also had a minor role in the Disney movie Charlie and the Angel. In Charlie and the Angel, he plays Wade Ferris, pretty much a boy who's interested in one of the daughters in this movie. That's pretty much it. Mostly a background actor. Here's Kurt Russell in the Disney movie Superdad. Superdad is a beach-themed movie where Kurt Russell's character Bart is interested in the main father's daughter, Wendy, and then they get married at the very end of the movie. So, all in all, okay, but more of a mature Disney movie. As I'm finishing this video, I just covered 11 Disney movies that Kurt Russell was in when he had his 10-year contract from the late 60s to the late 70s. There's no denying that Kurt Russell is a very talented actor, and he is definitely underrated for his time. Kurt Russell's Disney movies, for the most part, he seems to be less of a villain-like character, and I believe he deserves some credit for that. Kurt Russell has always been very charming when he portrays a role in a Disney film, and he is a very good actor, and I enjoyed watching him for the last week making this video, so I really hope you enjoy this video. It took a lot of time to make, but I got it through. Please like and subscribe to John's Deep Dive so YouTube can grow.